Regrets of the successful businessman. It's not in the stars to hold our destiny but in ourselves. Julius Caesar, William Shakespeare. Mumbai, night. Sanjay Pathak. The city was bustling with noise and pollution. Echoing with sounds of horns, flashes of light flickering, and persistent buzzing of desperation filled in the air. Mumbai, the city of dreams as they call it, was a playing ground for the hunter and the prey alike. I sat in my Toyota Velfire luxury car. I watched aside from the window side in traffic where most of the car lay before my car front. They were middle and low-class people who were driving their vehicles. I wasn't like them. On my mobile screen flashed Blu-ray light across my face in the car. On the screen, Ram Raghav stood tall, at the age of 72, as the perfect symbol of success. He delivered a seductive acceptance speech in the Grand Stadium for the Greatest President Award. With a calm and collected voice which was full of authority, he calculated delivering each and every word to influence the masses. I leaned to front the seat towards the mobile. I studied him during the whole video. The greatest president of all time as they are referring to him. What a joke. This person is born lucky into the empire which already built for him while his throne is polished by hands like us. His father Raghav was top notorious mafia don of the gang Red Cross who revered and feared by the Mumbai people, a tyrannical king who is feared by his subjects. His mother, Aishwarya Khanna, was the top lawyer in the world, known for knowledge and deception of the law to bend rules to her will. Ram. He is the ideal prince straight out of the Machiavelli's teachings, who is the greatest student in the history of Clivera International Elite High School. He doesn't know what real struggle is. Humph. While me, who only lead a life nothing but of struggle. I built myself from the crumbled mud. I grew up in poverty in worn-out low-class hut. Every day was filled hunger and penniless pocket was constant companion to me. To me hope was a faraway dream. My father was a factory worker with a broken dreams who lived a short period of time. You know why? He drank up a lot where he touched death when I was 10 years old. My mother who worked a lot domestic chores under wealthy people's house got severely ill during the period when I passed 12th grade. I was diligent student who scored first throughout my entire school. I was a promising student who didn't enough to study more. That's how I poor was. College. Forget that trash idea. I dropped out the day that my mother got ill without a second thought to work small jobs. Call centers, delivery runs, janitorial work, you name it, I worked every conceivable jobs. Survival and mother's hospital bills was the only thing that went through my head all the time. But survival wasn't only I did. I thrived. Every job taught me something important. I studied people, I dissecting their weakness and fear. I learned to learn the game better than anyone. By 30, I built a business worth millions while combining every bit of knowledge I learned from books or experience from other jobs. By 40, I was a businessman whose name became infamous and fear in the whole business of Mumbai. Yet, here I'm, staring at Ram Raghav with a feel rage I couldn't suppress. I envied him. No, envy would be too much of simple word for describing my whole feelings. Ram represented everything I could never have in my life. Ram's path was covered with privilege while mine was maze of pain, betrayal and sacrifice. I climbed the ladder while doing both dirty work and pure work behind the theater of life. But at what cost? My time with my family, friends and soul, I gamble everything for the pursuit of power. And partially I regret it. I had enough money to put on my mother's bills, could not share it with power to others. I pick up the bottle of whiskey to drown myself to ease my stress. I became more and more calm. Since there's no prior meetings or event to attend, I can go to hospital to see my mother again who's in coma. However, the broadcast was still ongoing as Ram's agade voice still resounded my ears. In this great nation, we rise and fall together. And together, we will forge a future brighter than any star. I snorted with a sneer. Propaganda for propagandistic minds. If it wasn't for his family upbringing then he'd be nothing. I closed my eyes as I leaned backwards to my car's seat. I sipped the whiskey's last drop. I was lost in thought. What if I'd been born into his life, what could I have accomplished? Would I've been a greater leader than him? A strong symbol? Or was I doomed to be a person who'd built on the sacrifices that I'd taken in life with no circumstances? There was a sharp knock on the window side of my car which broke my reverie. I frowned as turned to the other side. It's a high traffic area, there might some vehicle knock the window side, nothing but darkness of the night. Then window shattered in an instant. A crackling of glass sound filled in the car, and before I saw it I felt it, the burning pain in my chest. The warm wetness spreading across my suit. I looked down as my breath hitching, a small hope upon my chest, blood splurting out violently. A sniper's bullet. I staggered. The glass of whiskey slipping away from hand. I pressed my chest as I'm breathing heavily. I lay down to the side of the seat. Sir. Sir. What happened to you? I could barely hear my driver's voice on my ears. Who? Why? My mind raced while reminiscing all of face of enemies, rivals and betrayals I'd crushed in the past. I build my empire as I triumph over the bodies of others in a ruthless efficiency like none. But it didn't matter now, did it? My vision blurry as if I'm losing my consciousness, draining my strength. There was my blood pouring out of me, hot and wetty. I'm losing my life. I thought of my family member I'd now. My mother. The image of frail body, her tired and courageous smile overcoming the illness, these were last thing that filled my mind as eternal darkness approached me. I wanted to see her, one last time. But then, something strange happened. Then scenery of the car replaced. The pain faded away from my body, replaced by unusual stillness. I felt like drowning in an ocean. It was filled darkness. There was emptiness filled in it. I felt detached as I going deep underwater. I'm going to die. I'm a loser. I don't make the time to spend with family. I was crying. In the ocean. Then black red arm suddenly clutched my hand. Then black monster face revealed before me. He looked more blend of humanoid dragon with extremely horrifying face. His voice was more like a beast. You were betrayed, don't you? Do you want the power to raise again? My heart, which was stopped for now, was beating faster than ever. Ba dump, ba dump, ba dump. There was only the thing left in me. Hatred. Then a huge light glared at me in the ocean, pulling me away from eternal darkness. Everything around black-red colors. I want power, I want to see my mother again. The monster was shocked and then casted a demonic grin on face. You bear the mark of an unchosen one, abandoned by God, but destined for supremacy. Kill them all with the magic that make you a Satan and be a monster. As we spoke together. We're one. To be continued. Hello, guys. I'm PoorPoet. This will be my chronologically second novel. I'm right first POV in this whole story. I'm uploading this novel with my first novel open double angle bracket, The Game of Deception's close double angle bracket, which is kinda of a prequel AMD shared universe to this novels. I'm planning to write generic light novel style. This is my venturing out on the fantasy genre. This novel have its own flaws. I don't have any expectations towards my works yet. I'm striving for improving my craft. The inspiration of this novel was dear reader Tenzing Choying, who gave me inspiration to a series similar to open double angle bracket Warlock of the Magus World close double angle bracket, but more shonen-like. All updating this novel slow pace, so PLZ bear with me. I welcome all kinds of criticism. I hope I hadn't wasted your time. Thank you. PoorPoet. PoorPoet creators thoughts. 49 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. Past and future, 1. To know yourself, you must accept your dark side. To deal with others, you must learn to rise above your own darkness. Letters of Carl Jung. Wareham, I opened my blurry eyes with an uncomfortable numbness. The first thing I saw was an unfamiliar ceiling, which I had never seen before. Its design was quite different from the user's modern-day setting. I woke up from an unusual bed with an unfamiliar design. I cried while unconsciously embracing my body. Fuck. It hurts so much. I looked at the bandages covered in my arms and legs. The blood was dark brown and came from inside. It seems that the wound was deep. Who the hell did that to me? I found something strange that kept bugging me all the time when I was close hollow corner bracket observing around me. Why are my hands tiny and arms so young? I gazed at my chest. The clothes that I'm wearing have a peculiar design I have never seen before in fashion trends. It looked a little more worn out than what I was wearing previously. Another thing was how this room was so larger than me. I looked around the oddly designed room, which was only the size of an apartment. Was this big actually? I slowly stood up. Even though it hurted a lot, I kept standing properly and started walking. I realized instantly that it was not the room that became big, but me being too small to fit in. Why I'm so tiny? I'm a tall person. I kept gazing around and found a desk where a window was upwards. I pulled the chair from my desk and started to mount on it outside the window. When I propped myself with balance in a position without falling, I looked outside. What the F? I was shocked by the scenery I saw. How's that possible? This isn't India or the world. How can a place like this even exist? I saw many people, houses, mountains, farms, and beasts. Of course, I know I'm telling you normal things on Earth, but heck, it's not. There were people who were unfamiliar with a blend of fashion I had never seen before, like in historical films, anime, games, dramas, news, or fashion parades. They had different hair colors like in anime characters. If you talk about the house I saw nearby, it was a bit modern and with unique architectural designs which I never saw. At least mountains remain, but with different colors. In farms I saw various fruits whose designs and colors are strange from the typical vegetables you find there on Earth. And beast. I'm not talking about you like dogs, cats, or parrots. They were scary beasts with dangerous features and appearance which transcend cute little mammals. Some of them could even spit fire from their mouths. I rubbed my eyes thoroughly again and again. Where is this place? How come I here? My jaws dropped. Is it Digimon or Pokemon World? This must be a dream while I having an ICU at hospital. Yes. That's correct. It's a dream where I'm in a fantasy world that I have never seen before, like in literature. But the pain pulsing through my body proved me wrong. Even though it's a dream, it is too real for my senses to comprehend. Isekai, reincarnation. Those cliched tropes kept spurting out from my head. I was going to die, from a sniper's gunshot. When I was about to transcend to hell or heaven, a giant black-red terrifying humanoid dragon pulled me out of it. He asked me whether I wanted power to rise again. Maybe this was the power he granted me, and who was he actually? Why did he help me? These were the questions that kept arising in my mind. But what about my mother? If he could revive me, then that would be more helpful. I wanted to see her again. I gripped my hands tight. Who am I? Then. I'm sure I wasn't the previous me, I was someone else. Daris. You're awake. I heard a shout from a child. I looked down at the house entrance. There was a beautiful girl running from an unfamiliar black-white dress. She looked like a 7-year-old little girl but was a natural beauty which made many guys call her cute. Cutie. I tried to recall her name. Sylvia. Did you come to see me? I used a medium-pitched voice to reply to her. So I'm Daris. Then a sharp pain aches throughout my whole body. Ah. I gasped while clutching my body. Daris. You stay there and I'd bring Auntie with me to check up. Sylvia in a fast pace ran to my entrance. Auntie. Then suddenly from my ear there echoed a familiar beast's voice. You're awake, don't you? Accept this fate. This isn't your world. If you can't reach the pinnacle of this continent, then you can't get back to your original world and see your original mother, remember? Fight. I'll be with you forever. Then black-red aura covered my surroundings and as it engulfed me. Who are you? I asked with intense pain as I was completely immersed into a place I never knew. He answered as I closed my eyes. Your magic. I opened my eyes. I saw a red moon top in the sky without any clouds. I saw the aftermath of a war. I was standing on top of heaped bodies beneath my feet. I see nothing but blood covered everywhere. Everyone was dead except for them only. Including beasts and humans alike. I could see only destruction and chaos around the battlefield. I looked at myself as I dressed in dark armor which had a big humanoid dragon form with red markings engraved around me. My hands and legs had big sharp-edged black claws and nails bulging out while soaked in pure blood. I can't believe this. This is too realistic. Have I done to all? As Black-Red Soldier bowed to me and said, Lord, the war is over. This is your victory from all the foes in this continent who died by your hands. This world belonged to only and as your loyal servants we keep watching under your kingdom. I was shocked. No way. I had done this. But how? It's true that I crushed my enemies before but less in number yet this is A familiar monstrous tone echoed. It is you, face it, fool. You don't know the extent of the full power we hold. I'm part of you, we're inseparable, we're binded your soul. As long as your soul lives, all is so live within you. I'm your dark side, I'm you. I turned back. I was frightened by what I saw. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 3 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. Past and future too. In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. The art of war, Sun Tzu. I saw an apocalyptic turn in the world. It was on the battlefield after the war ended. They were soaked and full of blood. A huge black-red army of dead. They started to fall on their knees as they saw me. Typical behavior of loyal servants when they meet their ruler. All hail to our Lord's victory. They cheered in unison for me. I felt unknown pleasure and respect from seeing it. It's the first time I've felt genuine response from others. Before, in my previous world, I'd received this kind of greeting, but they were secretly done for hiding people's genuine emotions under their submissive and polite masks. I got sick of this. Yet this was something different. They were my army, the perfect pawns without any will of their own, which I could easily manipulate the regular people. It would be more impressive to manipulate a life full of humans who dance to my tunes. Then I saw him. The giant black-red humanoid dragon walked in front of me from the midst of this army. He looked coldly at me. He was covered in the same armor design as me. So he is my dark side and my magic. You're behind this, haven't you? I asked him bravely. I could manage my feelings even if I'm near a supernatural creature, and since it's my part inside me. Why should I fear him? I looked him clearly in the eye. But some part of me feels ashamed and disgusted. Since everyone doesn't want to look at their dark side out of fear looking at their abyss of darkness. I was like them. It is a part of me that I have always been afraid to look at. It was my true self, unlike the persona I wear in others' eyes. It was the real me that I couldn't hide from others. He stood proudly before me and started talking, resounding a monstrous voice. Don't you feel anxious when I come near you? I'm your darkness hidden in your unconsciousness as you're my light side of our same body. On the real earth, I couldn't communicate with you directly like now, but we were determined to get power through the dirty actions we committed together in our previous lives. But in this world, we're one soul with 2 separate bodies. This is the truth. I wanted the power. For that goal, I'd done merciless and ugly things in my previous life. That's why I'm anxious, because of my past. So there was one in the previous world but got separated, but how? I was confused. I asked him. Why did you mean that in this world we're in 2 separate bodies? What's your name? Why the hell do we bind my soul? Aren't you a monster? Why the fuck are you doing in my body then? Why didn't you help me to see my mother again? These were the questions I had in my mind. As I said before, this isn't your ordinary world, this is a world full of magic and martial arts. And your soul and the type of magic represent strength in this world's criteria. Everyone's unconscious here could externalize the soul's power in the form of mana, 1, to shoot their magic energy to attack or heal others. I'm temporarily separated from your body because in the illusion of darkness 2, where I could internalize a physical in accordance with your magic and talk to you directly. Bond with your soul because I wanted to, but the absolute being had put me into your soul for a certain purpose. As you said, I'm a monster, satanic dragon, that's why these worlds call me. I couldn't help you because you were on the brink of death, and with your soul affinity's power, I could only pull out our souls together from the body and seal it into Daris's body. I was puzzled. Indeed, I was dying in the car. Didn't he say that someone put him into my soul? Absolute being. Does the name itself signal that he's not an ordinary being? For what purpose did he put him into my soul? Didn't he mean sealed? Does that mean I can break free of this body? More questions accumulated in my mind. He seemed to read my thoughts and answered me. I don't know why he put me into your soul, but I certainly know that he gives you a chance to prove yourself to him by discovering that purpose in the future. Maybe he'll break the seal and help you transmigrate into your real body. Who knows? But for now, you don't have sufficient power to break free from the seal. I was still not convinced. So what would happen to my body when my soul is in this body? Would it decay? Could think past that. Don't worry about your body. I have given you an identity that will fix your future problems. Just think how you can reach the pinnacle of this world. Like in the past, we'll need power again, so be ready to do the dirty work once more. With your current power, you're just a little worm on this planet. I didn't get it. I need to reach the top again, like in my previous life. Yeah. Life is never easy. Then a thought came across my mind. How can I become stronger? The satanic dragon smirked at me. You only train yourself in these 3 things. 1. Fighting, 2. Magic, and 3. Soul affinity. Then rest all would fall into place. Your strength of soul affinity is reaching its limits. After you awaken your talent, then I can talk to you again. But remember this, if you can't become the strongest, then you'll die easily in this world. This is your final chance. Then fight. What I showed you now is the possibility of the future. I stretched my hand towards him. His whole body had faded away from me. I wanted to ask him more, but it seems that it's futile to do so. This illusion of darkness started to fade away from me. Everything the whole body had I experienced was an illusion now being eroded within my sight. Battlefield. Black-red army. Dead beasts and humans faded. The armor I wear. Everything turned black. I woke up from the empty darkness. But I could hear the familiar voices of mature and immature people. It seemed so familiar. I was lying on the floor of the room that I was in. I pushed my hands from the floor. Daris dear, you finally woke up. I was so scared since we were sleeping for the whole day without eating anything. Her voice was so familiar to someone I knew fondly. I glanced sideways to look at the face. I was shocked. Author's note. 1. Mana. Like in games or literature, energy required for magic to externalize from soul to lock a spell or attacks. 2. Illusion of darkness. A low-level black magic spell to communicate between soul affinity or magical beasts. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 4 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. Pissed. Download the app for additional rewards. More events, more perks. Winning you more free perks. Download now. PoorPoet. Download app now. Past and future 3. I can't believe it. She is my mother. No, it can't be a joke. She has the same appearance as my mother back in the real world. How can this be even possible? Even her little details about facial features and body measurements were the same. How could this even be possible? It's another world, not the real Earth. She's like my mother, who was lying in a hospital bed for more than 20 years. Is she my mom? I don't know. I'm certain that they look exactly the same. They were the same whether she was in the real world or this world. I couldn't distinguish the difference between them even in the slightest bit of detail. I was surprised by these revelations. Who was she? A doppelganger of my mother. She must have been Daris's mother, but why does she have the same opinions as my mother does? He's playing prank on me. Or is this a coincidence? But one thing I'm sure of. I am happy to see her again even if she isn't my real mother. I jumped myself to hug her impulsively because of some reaction. That I miss her a lot. So much so that when I was on the brink of death, I was afraid that I couldn't see her again. And I cried because I made so many mistakes and regrets in my early life. While chasing goal of power, maybe I shouldn't have been chasing for power. Instead, I should have worked hard to keep a family long enough. The current her was surprised by my sudden impulsive action. She sighed and put her hands on my head to back. Expression was filled with warmth and gentleness that any mother could display in front of the children. I started crying unconsciously because of the guilt I have been carrying around for so many years. There is my little son. Why are you crying? She said it in a gentle tone. I'm sorry, Mom. I left you all alone back then. I wonder if that's the same mistake again. Please forgive me. I mourned. I didn't notice her puzzled expression. Hugged her till I felt her breast softness. What are you talking about? My son, you haven't left me alone. What were you playing in the forbidden lost woods? What's there to forgive about? Are you hallucinating, my son? I forgot that she is not my real mother. She's Daris's mother, who just same appearance as my mother. Maybe it's just what he mentioned regarding my identity. I understood now what he meant. Then what about my appearance? I asked her. Mom, could you bring a mirror now? I wanted to see my face. I'm just curious about my appearance. What? Why do you suddenly want to see your face now? You already know you are like your father appearance. Then is it because of scars on it? Mom, please, I want it, please. I looked at her innocently. Okay. My child, I'll do what you say. Sylvia dear, get the mirror of right side of the house, up here. Yes, Auntie. I heard a loud shout from Sylvia. After 2 minutes, Sylvia brought the mirror up to me and my mother's side. That's when I saw how beautiful Sylvia is. My soul is in 40s. I don't want it to be pedophile. She brought me up the mirror to me and said, didn't I always told you not go over the forbidden lost woods? 2. What were you thinking, you idiot? Me and Auntie got worried when we heard that you'd gone it. I looked at it. I was half shocked. I had similar appearances previous lives, but I'm a 7 years old child. I'm lied. I'm sorry to you both. I made you worry. I'll also told you that many villagers will call you Satan's child and often bully or you from now on, and they blame you for leading other children into that cave. My son, I should have been more stricter with you. She gently rubbed all over my head and said, I'm worried what would happen to you, Daris. Will you take the blame of the villagers? Sylvia looked at me with worry. I could understand what they're saying. Even if I'm not the culprit behind it, still blame me for their child's loss. It because of that. Forbidden lost woods. Grip. Suddenly the pain gripped all of my head. And then loads of memories rose from my mind. Forbidden lost wood was a forbidden place that every person shouldn't go to without the permission of elders in the village. But a few groups of children had visited the place out of curiosity. It was a forbidden area that even the elders of the village were afraid to go into. That place contains a dangerous for warrior in this village, which is located in the village's lair called the Devil's Underground Cave 3. Devil's Underground Cave was known as a forbidden place that if someone visited only once, they would never return. Even if they return, they will already be possessed by the devil. Hence, they are also called Satan's children. That's why the majority of the children didn't go to the place. They were as if they were already scared of being possessed. All have been lost in the forbidden woods forever. They didn't want to be labeled as Satan's children. But I was returned with full of scars and bruises from that place. I managed to see a monster there, but since the atmosphere was filled with smoke and fog, I couldn't see the face of that demon. It used some kind of magic to lure us into that place. Yet I was able to barely return alive, even with wounds. But for the other children, it was only misfortune that they didn't come back. I don't know what happened afterwards. I ran for my life to reach the gate of the forbidden lost wood. Luckily, they were able to find me, the rest. From the depths of the wounds, it seems like crazy beast would have done this. That's when Daris faced death from such young age and he died from that encounter. I don't know what happened to him correctly. How did real Daris died actually? It remains a mystery. From his blurred memory before running away from that monster is foggy. What really happened to him? Why did he gone to that forbidden place with his friends in the first place? What exactly the goal behind it? Not certainly because out of curiosity. What actually happened to that place? Maybe I'll know in the future. Author's note. 1. He has a absent father. He has only relative, that's his mother. I'll show his father's background story in the upcoming chapter, so stay tuned. 2. Forbidden lost woods. It a dangerous which banned to not go that place for every villages and warriors. 3. Devil's Underground Cave. Yeah. That's the reason why most don't go forbidden lost woods, is because of this cave which has dangerous magical beast. Now McDaris will be mocked and tortured as a Satan's child, which colloquially termed by villagers who broke the taboo of entering the forbidden lost woods. I plan to make this novel darker. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story? Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 0 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. The beginning of cruelty, 1. We're what we always were in Salem, but now the little crazy children are jangling the keys of kingdom and common vengeance writes the law. The Crucible, Arthur Miller. Where is that brat Daris? We heard an angry yell from a middle-aged man. I stopped looking at the mirror. I shifted my gaze to the window. Mom was the first one to look out the window before. Instantly her face darkened, and she slightly trembled, which I saw from the sides. I looked out the window where all the people stood before the door of my house. Judging from their expressions, they were pissed off. Some of them were already in tears. They were about to inquire about their children and blame me for their children's loss. As they saw me come outside Melinda and Satan's brat, they said in unison. They wanted a scapegoat on which to vent their loss. They don't want to know about my health even when I barely survived that place. As they saw me come out Melinda and Satan's brat, they said in unison. They were with weapons and torches. Behind them were beasts. How convenient for them to put the entire blame on my shoulders and call me possessed Satan's child from them. EI. Shish, I'm not going to make it. Satan's child just because Daris was lured into the cave. I sighed. I decided to face them. I don't like being hiding in the bush. Since they already labeled me as Satan's child, then so be it. I can shut their mouths or their customs for now. I can only repress myself in the meantime. They can mock, harass, blame, or torture me temporarily, but when I get a chance, then I'll pay them back for what they did to me. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, that's my philosophy. It's their blindfolded belief and custom that made them like this. I give a dialogue while acting naturally like I was to surrender to them. Uncles and aunties, I'm innocent in this. It's not me who led Ivan or Zian to the forbidden lost woods, the devil inside the cave lured us. But all of you must think, if the devil possessed me then I'd already harm my mother or Sylvia when I saw them. Look at them, are they already here alive with me? Do you still think I'm possessed? I said in an innocent tone like a normal 7-year-old boy would. They were already fuming with anger and disgust towards me. I knew that they were not going to stop. Brad and Melinda come down. Yeah. They want to frighten us. I looked at Mom and Sylvia. They were already horrified and anxious about me. I gripped my hands hard. I don't want to cause any trouble to my loved ones again. But that doesn't mean I'd take shit from others. I placed my arm on my mother's hand and Sylvia's shoulders. Mom and Sylvia. Let's go down. I want to see what they'll do to me. My mom suddenly stood before me while hugging me with an overprotectiveness. No. My son, I won't let you go there, they'll harm you. I can't imagine what they do to you. She's always worried about me like her. Daris, have you gone mad? You just barely survived forbidden lost woods, then throwing blame at you. It's unfair. I understand what she meant. Yeah. World is unfair. But if the world is unfair then you have to be unfair to the world. I gave a smile. Can't you see them, from their looks and manners? They already saw me as an possessed Satan's child. You can't, their views are of nobody's even, it's a whimsical belief, that's our deep and down nature. So it's futile to change others' views. That's why I have to face them now or never. Both Sylvia and Mom were shocked by my words. They had a doubt whether if I'm still their original Daris. Fate has another plans for me. I left away from my mom's embrace. I embraced my wounds and already started to walk towards the door. Brat. You finally came. You wretch. Why did you take my child in the forbidden lost woods? This is the first slander I heard from a weeping woman came before me and slapped my cheek with enough force that caused me fall to side ground. It hurts, you whore. The wounds in my body to pulsate more. Stacy. Why did you hit that Satan's child? Did you wanted him to possess you by touching him? Husband, sob, it's all because playing with this Satan's child that our sons have to go to the forbidden place. I have the anger to beat him all over. The man behind the women stopped her before hitting me again. I know if we kept our son from playing with this Satan's child then we would still see him alive. He responded at her emotional state. It's not just one child had been dead but entire 19 kids with 7 to 8-year-old who been selected to awaken talent had perished all because of this brat. Another parent snorted. An elder brother Eagle of Ivan came before. I always sympathized you because you didn't a father as growing up, but now it was the biggest mistake I did back then. He started to kick me. As they kick was fall on me. My mom took the kick by protect me. Ah. I heard a shriek from her mouth. I'm sorry Auntie Melinda. I was pissed off. You bastard. I charged at him. But he managed to dodge it. He pushed me to the floor. I fall hard to the ground. The wounds opened up of all my body. The pain gushed all around me. I look at Eagle with deadly glare. I don't care happens to me, but if you hurt my mother, I'll see your corpse. All the looked at me disgust. Stop. He doesn't look like a possessed Satan's child. If had been then he'd already kill us with his magic. He's wounded and still has consciousness of a child. He had attacked Eagle because he unintentionally hit her. The village chief, the elderly man who was in late 60s, came to the side. If Daris memories is stored in my mind clearly, then I know him. He's Ivan and Eagle's father. He is Irving sane. But we don't know if he's pretending or not. Anyways, let's take him to jail where we'd giving a further punishment. Author's note. The novel gets real darker than before. Reading dark novels help me with it. I hope I can make the novel bit of gore. This chapter marks the beginning vengeance of MC. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 2 comments 0 votes send gifts. The beginning of cruelty 2. No. Please don't take him away. He's the only relative I have on this life. Please I beg of you all, please leave me alone too. My mother Melinda fell onto their knees and begged them. This made my blood boil rapidly. I yelled at her. Mom. Get up. Don't beg to them. They will only put me in jail and torture me. They can't kill me until they'll find the truth behind it. They don't have ***** witness against me. I tried to get up. But Eagle caught my hands back. Chief Irving said with his face darkened. While he grabbed my throat. Pest. Mind your ***** tongue. If you weren't the victim, then how were you the only one WHO was able to return from the forbidden lost woods alive? Why my son and other 18 kids have gone to the jaws of death? He pulled to the top in the air. I was choking. I can't breathe properly. I survived death once but not twice. Is he going to kill me? My mother came crying to his knees. I glared at her and she was crying. Please mom, don't beg, at least for your child, we were abandoned by the gods. And father won't be happy. Irving threw me to the ground. All of them grabbed my wounded body. The scars and wounds increased my pain. Since he was selected as a child of talent awakening. Let's test his talent in the king's chamber and put him into jail if he proves to be useless. As for his mother, I think we shall be sent her to Lord Alfred. Yes. They agreed in unison. I was shocked. Lord Alfred. That bastard womanizer. If my mother got near him, then she'd be ruined. When my mother heard this, she was shocked and afraid of everyone. I yelled at my mom. Mom. Run away from them. Forget about me, just run. Sylvia has taken up her hands and started to run away from them. Chief Irving summoned his beast Infinity Beast Flargon to chase after them. Fuck. I can't let this happen. If these beasts caught up to Sylvia and Mom, what should I do? I struggled between the hands of these *****, gripping my body tightly. My heart was filled with the same old feeling, hatred once against myself. Even though he decided to face all of this, there was nothing he could not do now. I heard a whisper from my ear. You want to save your mother, right? You should awaken your talent before you run rampant against them. Believe me, when you can get me unlocked from your soul affinity, I give you temporary strength in exchange for taking your body for a short time. But for now, make some time for me to break free from your soul affinity. If it's true, then I can't just leave them like this. I grinded my teeth. I know how you feel. But we've to be strategic about this like we did in the past. Make them feel that you submit to them for a period of time, but when the time comes, we'll show them who the real villain is. Since your mother is with that girl, then there won't be a problem. I was puzzled by his comment. What do you mean? He mysteriously replied to me. You'll know in the future. I was standing before the king while being handcuffed. The court was filled with aristocratic children and their family members assembled in the sidelines of the court. I was one of few from the peasant family children gathered here to awaken the talent. But I'm here handcuffed with chains on my neck and hands, which made me stand out from others. All of eyes was filled with disgust and ridicule towards me, as if I'm a criminal who'd done a terrible crime. They were few murmuring across the aristocrats while glancing at me. I fixed at the second finale boy who was testing his talent. Sir Winfried of Sword Right family. The boy was extremely handsome from young age and was wearing unique and luxurious attire from others. The boy started put his hand in the pool of chosen path 1, from which water turned into stormy cyclone, which shocked everyone in the court. What? Storm magic? No way. No. This can't be. A stronger elemental type magic. As expected from the Sword Right family still has a couple genius storm mages aside from knights, this kid got a bright future ahead him. Then Winfried withdrew his magic and tested his physical strength by smashing big crystal in the court. His strength is clearly lacking. But his magic was quiet enough for him to surpass others. Unlike all the peasant family children who didn't have aptitude for magic but had great raw strength. Most of the aristocratic family was able to awaken weak elemental magic. But this Winfried is different. He has middle scale saw too compared to other aristocrats with ordinary scale saw. I saw his satisfactory smile. Ha 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 ha, let's see what's your talent you born with, peasant. But I feel his arrogance. He walked right in front of me. The Queen Belissa III was satisfied with him. She'll be award him the honor of talent badge 3. She looked like a old jealous hag. But as far I know she have sons with strong aptitude for magic and physical strength for each. She looked at me at disgust and mockery. Is you the one who survived Forbidden Lost Woods alive? Everyone's gaze was locked at me with inexpressible shock, even with Winfried's face. The murmuring began among them. The guards forced me to reply. My queen, I'm the only one who survived from Forbidden Lost Woods. She interrupted me. Why, you Satan's child? Don't call me by my respectable name from your filthy mouth. She crossed her hands uncomfortably. Like others, she describing me as Satan. I really wanted to slap this thought's face. Everyone enjoyed it when she called me a filth. She looked at Irving sane. He's also the one who killed innocent 19 kids. Irving bowed and kneeled in front of her. Unfortunately, yes, he's the one of the selected talent awakening student. We still need to check his talent before we could give him further punishment. The queen frowned deeply and she said, Che. If he wasn't selected, then we'd already have killed him. But since he still has final chance to prove his worth, then let him, but if he shows a weak talent, kill this Satan's child once for all. This is my order. To be continued. Author's note. 1 Pool of Chosen Path. It's talent awakening pool which extracts saw from soul to externalize magic. It contains high mana energy and magic in that pool. 2 Saw equals soul affinity. Refer above the magic system page. 3 Honor of Talent Badge. It's gifted to those who are highly talented. It could give extra benefits to who are wearing these badges. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 0 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. The beginning of cruelty 3. He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. And if thou gaze long into an abyss, the abyss will also gaze into thee. Beyond good and evil, Friedrich Nietzsche. Death. I heard this term a lot in my 2 lives. I had enough of this. First it was a sniper bullet. Now it was a false acquisition of killing 19 kids and exiting the devil's underground cave. I'm a transmigrator. But I'm forced to do this. If that satanic dragon is within me, then I would have a chance to escape. I just have to test my talent. Rest. I believe. He'd help me. Queen Belissa III nodded her head at the guard. The guard quickly opened the handcuffs around my hands. I felt happy when my hands got untied. Under the gazes of everyone, I slowly walked over to the pool. I kneeled and put my hand in the pool. I felt really cold. I saw everyone was looking at me. I didn't feel anything. I looked at the pool. There wasn't any reaction from it. Unlike other tests who'd instant reaction from it. I didn't get anything but the coldness of still water. He gotta be kidding me. My mother and Sylvia are in danger. And asterisk 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 the bastard is not helping me. I'm totally asterisk 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 up. My expression darkened and I was in the grip of frustration. I turned to the strength testing crystal, next to the chamber. I strike the crystal. But the crystal didn't budge a bit. It hurted my fist a lot. Crystal didn't glow up. I could feel clearly the helplessness and bitterness. I wanted power but I lacked the strength for it. No magic. No physical strength. That was my fate. Damn. It was true, I was abandoned by gods. I was born alone without power. Like in my previous life. The cycle repeats. Then Ram Raghiv's face appeared before me. Talent or lineage. Without them I'll be nothing. It's unfair. I'm a failure who can't protect my mother in 2 lives. My heart filled with hatred again. Everything around me filled black and white. There was no way I can save my mother being raped by Lord Alfred. I looked at the Queen. Then Queen Belissa III looked at me while wearing a maniacal expression. I looked at others, I still saw the same expression. They all wanted me to get a death sentence. Just because I'm a Satan child. Winfried was utterly happy. He laughed. Look at him, this Satan's child is a piece of trash. He doesn't have any magical or physical strength, how amusing, ha 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 ha. He deserved it. I lowered my head with disgust. If I'd a chance to show him what's real torture is in this world. The hatred and helplessness burned in my heart like an inferno. Others here started murmuring with devious smiles on their faces. He has the weakest aptitude in the entire history of this kingdom. How could a person be so useless? Ha ha ha, since he's the sole survivor of Devil's Underground Cave, then imagine a monster run ramped having the power of a demon. Good grace, we're fortunate he don't have any slightest bit of talent in him. What you said is right. For a possessed child doesn't deserve to be magi or a knight. He should fucking die for killing 19 innocent childrens. He should receive a death penalty for his crime. Satan's child. My queen and fellow knights kill him right. Get the hell out. You murderer. Queen Belissa III announced. Guards handcuff him and send him to prisons. Suddenly a mage used some kind of binding spell on me. My hands and legs were binded unknown magic. I fell down in an imbalance. I struggled to break off from these magical chains which restricted my movements. One knight grabbed and pushed my head to the floor. Irving Sane came forward, he gripped my hair strands and slapped my face hard. He was torturing me and whispered to me. I can't wait till your mother's purity be tarnished by that womanizer. I had a fantasy that erupted from my imagination. I'll massacre everyone here in the court and take a bloodbath. Kill. I was pushed to the very limits physically but mentally, I'm far stronger than all of them. My hatred. Envy. Anger. Bitterness. Helplessness. Disgust. All of the peaks. Ba-dump, ba-dump, ba-dump. I can't bear all of it. I said coldly. Let me go. For the last time. I said let me go. The 2 voices became one in an instant. Then. The pool of chosen path surging violently. Color of the pool became blacker. Then shades of red color blended with it. Suddenly it dried down all of the pool water and with the mana in it. As a hurricane swirling around the pool. A blast of violent aura shot out of the pool to destroy the ceiling of the court. Earthquake started to shake the whole ground. Everyone was shocked by it and was trembling by the intensity of the aura which was being shot from the pool. The black-red fiery aura turned into the form of a monster. The black monster's crude face reflected the red markings all over its body. My and the monster's voices echoed throughout the whole court. Ha 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 ha. By seeing the monsters, the Queen Belissa III was utterly flabbergasted and stammered. BB black magic of Zala. She stopped midway, not wanting to continue even further. You asterisk fools, it's my time. She rose up from the chair feverishly. After the queen, everyone started to tremble, including the knights, mages, aristocrats and childrens. Everyone looked at me in fear. Suddenly my tender arms became crude black-red arms of a monster. I pushed and braked all the restraints from above. Black-red aura covered me. I noticed a change in me. I'm feeling a sudden gain of power. It feels nice and great. I'm wearing 2 black-red gauntlets covering my hands within black big clawed nails like monsters. Hands were emitting black-red magic. And no. It can't be black magic, the powerful and rarest magic in the world is emitted from him. How on earth it can even be possible? A, are you sure he's an ordinary peasant? I don't think so. B, open corner bracket, it's the magic from that clan, how shit now I scared of him, he's not only a Satan's child anymore. If we considered storm magic has the strong magic, then this magic could be called monstrous. He's far more dangerous than a possessed child, our kids needed to be weary of him. Shit, were we playing with fire all this time? I smiled. And the real showdown begins. Author's note. There are few foreshadowing in this chapters from the future chapters of the novel. Now it became more darker as the chapters scrolled down. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 67 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. The beginning of cruelty, 4. Author's note. After a couple of chapters there would be some changes on the aspect of writing. I decided to experiment with my writing. It may feel forced to change in an instant. I wanted to learn to write web novels in my own fashion by still being honest with the light novel style. The style gets changed with each chapter published. It is more like shonen manga mixed with seinen elements, but it will be mostly based on the shonen demographic. It should be noted that future novels will either be shonen or seinen, or be a mix of them. I awakened my talent. I stood up there under the horrified gazes of others. He's out. I was happy from the pain of being submitted to the ground. My hands were equipped with a new kind of black-red gauntlet. Black-red aura kept fluctuating around my fingers. Monster and I grinned. Ha 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 ha, since you wanted to kill me then I shall return the favor. I sprinted towards Irving Sane. I plunged a hole in his stomach. My black nails on the gauntlet retracted from his body. I whispered. Since you wanted my mother to be ruined, you deserved it ***** bastard. Blood spewed out from his mouth and from his body. He looked at me in horror. Please. But this will be his last breath. I will hesitate to kill anyone who stands in my way. Even if I've to become the enemy of the whole world. Then I kicked his crotch, sent him flying to Queen Belissa's throne. Everyone was shocked, including her. I glared at her and him. Winfried backed off. To me, he is still a kid who doesn't know the brute reality or war of humans. He is only 7 years old but already ruthless in killing others. He's really a monster and a Satan's child. Normally a 7-year child would be hesitant in harming an animal, yet this brat is vicious like snake. Who on earth gives birth to such a demon? At age of 7, he started to kill his village chief. How many people will he slaughter when he grows up? A true Satan indeed. We can't let him kill others in the view of our honorable queen. He has to put on his place. Queen Belissa III had an ugly expression and fear on her face. I don't know why. She hesitantly ordered her cautious guards. He has the rarest magic in the world. Not to mention, he has potential to become Dark Magi, which only a specific race has. For his atrocity we'd only give him small punishment. Guards take him into the prison in this instant. Everyone's face was splashed with disappointment. If it goes on then I can't save my mother and I'll have to escape somehow. Knights and mages started to surround me. They were already casting spells to bind me like again. Fight the mages first, the knight can be an annoying part. So start learning to use magic with the gauntlets equipped in your hands. A mage started to cast a fire magic spell. I ran with max speed at him. The fireball shot at me, I used my black gauntlet to shoot my black magic at him. Flames of black-red absorbed the fireball into it. Now shoot. I threw the absorbed fireball to the mage ahead of him. I ran with my limits. I used the flames as camouflage to buy some time to get near him. I got behind him, I swiped at his waist, cutting off his body into 2 parts. Blood leaked out of his hip. Then a knight came in my soul and using his physical strength against me. When the punch came right at me, I grabbed his right hand and used his strength against him, by taking the force of his punch and sliced against his neck. I tore his hand apart from his body. All the mages and knights came one by one. My struggle began to increase. As more came, the difficulty kept increasing. I deflected the magic with my gauntlets and also pierced through the armor of the knights and the capes of the mages. Since I learned martial arts from a village, it would be useful for me against fighting all of them. The more items, the more I lose my stamina and strength to keep pushing on. I am still a little boy. It's natural that I lose energy so quickly. Not to mention that I am not trained like them. I am still able to fight them all with luck. Since I have these gauntlets in my hands which are as sharp as any blade could, pierces through the hard shell of a tortoise. If this fight kept going on, I could lose any moment as the army of knights and mages kept increasing. This temporary power I hold has its own limitations. I can lose the strength at any moment. I don't know how much I will be able to keep going on. If I want to fight this fight quickly, I have to find another trick to lose them out. Then I started to dodge and deflect all of the attacks from them. If I'm fighting head-on with these guys, then I will be kept in prison. We've to change the strategy now. Fighting all of them will quickly deplete the mana which you absorbed from the pool of chosen path. We still need this mana to protect her. Grab the Honor of Talent badge, it would help you in your journey. I got an idea. I started to sprint towards the throne. Everyone on the court got alarmed by my sudden action. The mages and knights let all restraints use high-level attacks on me. I'll use a low-level black magic spell to absorb all attacks behind killing every one of them, but will deplete your strength. Use it now. I shouted with all of my lungs. I raised my right arm to the aim, my black-red gauntlet's claw nails came forward. When all the attacks were about to hit me, behind my back, 2 more black-red arms came from my flesh. Like a vacuum pump, it sucked all magical powers from these attacks. I felt a large amount of drain and pain from this absorption. Then my eyes turned red. Dark avalanche. Then all the mana I absorbed was used. Boom. I clutched the aim. Neck of the Queen Belissa III. The black-red arms soon became black icicle blades which pierce all of them. But all of their bodies were spurting red blood around their bodies. All of the children and aristocrats were spared. It was intentional. Only guards and mages were severely damaged. Because they were the only hindrance in. Everyone was shocked. He got the queen. Now it's my time to dominate. To be continued. Strength doesn't come from merely physical capacity. It comes from indomitable will. Mahatma Gandhi. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 0 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. The beginning of cruelty, 5. All the world is your enemy. You are a prince with thousands of enemies and they catch you. They will kill you, but first they must catch you. Watership down, Richard Adams. Please don't kill me. She pleaded. I raised the enlarged black nails at her throat. I probably looked like an X-Men. I want to kill her right now. But there are some things I need to acquire before. There are a couple of things I wanted from you. I want the Honor Badge of Talent, 2,000 gold coins, and order letter statement with a written message that, I, Daris Darkhold, awakened his talent in black magic, thereby as the Queen, you are permitting me to study in the prestigious Cyrus Academy of Magics in the central of Winya Kingdom as an elite student, and you'd never interfere with incident of Devil's Underground Cave, and hereby you'd place an order for me to raid into the cave with a full troop of knights and mages participate when the time comes. I ordered. The nail slightly brushed off her throat, a scar was left on the edge with a drop of blood coming from it. Her expression turned even more ugly. With a hint of disdain, she ordered the courtier. Jacob, get the premium honor badge, 2,000 gold coins, and write the order statement right now and do as he is told. Yes, my queen. The courtier started going to the stuff I needed. I still increased the length of my nails. I heard the sounds of a hurricane behind me. I swapped the hand with my arm on my back. I looked back, it was Winfried using his low-level storm magic against me. I glared at him. Satan's child, don't you dare think, I, Winfried of Sword Right family, is afraid. I sliced his right arm from his body. He will be handicapped for his life. Ah, you asterisk asterisk. He started crying in agony of pain. Then I felt a huge shadow behind me. It was the wretched queen slamming the flower vase on top of my head. But she ignored the fact, I still have 4 black-red arms on my body right now. Before she could harm me, I smashed the flower vase down. With agility, I tore down her clothes into shreds with my right index finger. She became paler. She quickly hid her private parts with the rest of her remaining clothes. You jerk. Everyone around us had already seen her naked. I liked all of your smartness, but I don't like your over-smartness. This is a price you had to pay for a worse death. That's an attack of shame. No women can endure this punishment. The children closed of their eyes. Queen started crying. I don't care shit about it. Everyone was horrified. What an audacity. This brat made the respectable queen naked before our own eyes. He is not ordinary brat. He's a psychopath. Run for our lives. He took the coldest revenge, but compared to the... Hey. It's forbidden to mention them here. It's true, this brat is belong to their race. Mommy, please save me from this monster. What happened when he'll grow up? Hell. All the knights and images were ashamed because they could not protect their queen from them, but more interestingly they look at her naked figure lustfully. Since she was one of the most beautiful women in the entire kingdom. Everyone at revered her as a gorgeous and proudly lady in their heart, but when I torn her clothes, they were looking at her like a body. Then courtier suddenly came with the things. He was shocked by the appearance of half-naked queen. He looked at Winifred lying while crying with his impaired hand. Jacob, give me the badge, money and old letter. I got what I wanted. Now it's time save my mother. Now what's left is the search for my mom and Sylvia. I don't know where they are. I am sure that I will find them sooner or later. But I still have to solve the mysteries behind the devil's underground cave. The scars in my body hasn't gone, which still there. The mysteries behind it is the one bugs me the most. I will find the real culprit behind the death of 19 children. And for that villages I'll pay them back when I get stronger more. For today's battle I'm lucky that I won, but I don't know misfortune of tomorrow. I have to be prepared for it. But there's still some stuff left to settle. I used my 4 arms to grab Winfried, Jacob and Belissa. I put them in place. I smiled like a monster. My gauntlet glowed black-red aura, the black nails big large. 4 of them gasped in fear. I said with our 2 voice became one. Tell her husband, if he revenge for his beloved wife and army, then I waiting for him. But remember that he wouldn't return alive. If he wanted war, I'm the war. This for Belissa. I sliced her head from her body. Her filthy blood sprayed at me. Winfried was purely scared of me. I also cut of his arm from his body. Don't dare to look down on ordinary peasant, you puny asterisk. Your childish arrogance is just because you're born in well-off family and have a bit of talent. It's often the weak who triumph over the strong men in the end, and that's all that matters. I stomped over his balls and destroyed the eggs in it while blood came off from his pants. Ah! He cried as a melody to my ears. Jacob had pissed his pants wet. I look at him coldly. Tell your king and princes, this Dark Magi will always welcome his revenge at any time. I will bring down your entire kingdom into a dark apocalypse. Why, yes, sir. I laughed loudly, ha 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 ha, with a tone on monster. I slowly started descending through the stairs and started to exiting the court. Everyone looked at me with fear from the peasant children's side, they witnessed the rise of a villain. The guards and mages were brink of death. That's the frightening power of black magic. Every children looked at me with envy, fear, disgust and respect. As I looked at them, they are looking down to the floor. All of them were destined to become knights in the future, not a single one could become a magi but except me. What saw me as monster, not a ordinary kid. If someone wielded this magic, he destined become the strongest magi in the world. But prodigy who destined to become a dark magi. I'm not a saint nor an antihero. I'm a fucking villain. To be continued. Author's note. Mick won this battle because he has a luck factor to it, and since he wields the strongest magic in the world, he has able to rival other knights and mages with a slight ease. It's like magical cultivation novel. The higher and strongest realm you are, the stronger your power gets. This is the logic behind this fight. An MC learned martial arts from the previous life. His gauntlets have the power to deflect and store magic from others while absorbing it. Yes, because of black magic functionality, which I never told this in the magic system page. There is a unique functionality to each magic. Black magic functionality is that zone the power of the attacks and spells in order to boost his own strength. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tag this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 1 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. Difficulty 1. In the dense forest of the Avalgia kingdom. I ran with a speed of 7 years old. It was like I ran in the court. I wasn't equipped with black gauntlets created by my black magic. I decided to not use black magic for the time being. I depleted a lot of mana on the way. I need a lot of mana from previous battles. The dense forest was covered with a misty fog. I could barely see the way in the forest. It is easy to get lost in this type of area. I must be wary of these monsters here. Since I got a message from Sylvia before entering. Her bird beast was there standing at the entrance of the forest. I recognized her as Sylvia brought her a lot when we're playing with each other. She managed to write a small note. Daris. Auntie and I are in the depths of the frozen temple of Avalgia, on the southern side of the forest frozen lake. Auntie somehow managed to open the door of the chamber. I don't know how, but please come to our side. Aunt forced me to write this like she knew a bit before. Please, Daris, I don't think this place isn't any good. A thought crossed my mind. How did Mom know that I'm going to come here? How does Mom know the location of the frozen temple? I ran as quickly as possible to the southern part of the frozen lake. Keeping these thoughts to my heart, after a few hours I reached the frozen lake. It was a huge lake completely frozen in ice. The icicles were spreading across the plants which were nearby it. There were blue-colored fireflies dancing around these plants. The animal near was dead in the ice. I could smell the rich scent of ice roses which were growing near the bushes of thorny plants. I felt the coldness in the air blowing to my body, causing me to shiver a bit. I placed my feet on the ground, and there was a slippery surface. I heard the cracking sound of the ice on the surface. Channel your black magic to your feet, like gauntlets in your arms, on your feet the magic of any equipment you desire. I channel the black magic from my soul affinity. The black-red aura surged around my feet, transforming into black-red skating shoes. My feet felt warm upon wearing these shoes, keeping me from the cold. I lifted my feet to the ice and pushed myself into skating through the ice surface. It's actually fun to skate. I never had the time to enjoy a ride like this. The more I got into the center of ice, the fog and the coldness of air increased. I couldn't say what was in front of me as I got into a maze of fog. The wind heavily flew across my face with snowflakes falling from the sky. I realized that it was a full moon night. I can't see anything. How did Sylvia and Mom get there? Then I looked downwards, shocked. There was a big white animal below the ice surface where I was standing. It all looks like a whale, but more like a white whale with big jaws of monsters-like teeth. But it looked slender like a melodic from Pokemon. There were rainbow-colored tentacles falling from his head. It had fearsome eyes that had filled with red color filled with tears. It was facing north where his mouth opened. There was a rainbow-colored shiny kept pulsating in between his mouth gap. What was this beast anyway, and why is it doing down there in the ice? Suddenly its red eye moved at me. I was scared by its gigantic size and ferocious look. If the ice surface melted in the sun, I would be perfect food for this beast. I am getting really confused about how Mom is able to get there in this creepy place. That's an infinity beast. What's doing it here on a lake like this? He knows what this is. Do you know what this thing is? He replied. It's essentially a matured frost infinity beast locked in a high-level magical spell. If you were tackled by this frost beast, you'd die in an instance. This must be related to the frozen temple. Let's go to get back your mom first. I never thought this whale was that strong. I don't know this, but can it be tamed like in Pokemon? Unfortunately no, this beast has already bonded with someone else. But its owner is missing. Damn it. If I choose a Pokemon like this would be my partner for life. It's not a Pokemon, it is an infinity beast. Once an infinity beast bonded its soul to a human soul, like you and me, but the difference is I'm your magic and this thing is a monster. Let's not waste any more time, I have urgent business to do. I skated more on the ice with ease and the feeling of nostalgia of playing in the grounds of Mumbai before my father died. I inhaled a lot of cold air, feeling the trembling skin on my rough 7-year-old body. I hissed giz while hugging my body. I increased my speed to cuff myself from the cold. I reached more and more at the depths of the frozen lake. Sanjay, look at the front and there is a large building. I looked more at clearing the fog when I reached a place I didn't know before. I was shocked. It was a huge temple in the midst of this giant lake and beast. Like the name, it was a temple made out of ice, and was 8 stories tall. The gigantic door had the head of a snake in the center of the surface. There were at the 2 sides of the door frozen knights with gigantic weapons on their hands guarding in front of it. The giant blue flames were kindled on top of the torches, indicating there's still people in there. It looked more like an icy castle fashioned from a temple. My jaws dropped. I backed off a bit in the fog. How are you going to handle this place, Sanjay? Don't you want to save your mother? I bit my lips. I gripped my hands into fists, feeling the pain. I felt the cold wind flying at me. I heard my heart beat faster than before with the ba-dump sound. I smelled the scent of the blue rosy spreading across the air. I gulped the dry saliva in my throat. I clutched my hands from behind with a force. I'm going in. Author's note. I'm going to use more show. Don't tell on my writing. I'll improve my world building skills as I write more chapters. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 0 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. Difficulty 2. Even the smallest person can change the course of the future. Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien. I need a plan. I can't rush into a frozen temple like this. I need a strategy. If your mother and that girl are able to get into that easily and alive, then you can too. I crossed my arms. I don't know whether if those 2 giant frozen knight would attack right at me. Since I don't see any bloodshed there, I might enter it safely. But how did my mother get into place easily in this temple by hiding from the villagers? I'll know when I inside of it and how I do open this giant no door. I thought of something. You guessed it right. Use your magic to turn your body into stealth mode, find a weak spot of these frozen knights and enter the frozen temple to find your mother. I closed my eyes. I equipped my previous black-red gauntlets in my arms. I channeled my magic into my whole body, making it invisible in thin air. I started to skate into the direction of the entrance. When I reached near the frozen knight, 2 of them got alarmed by something. In their eyes, a blue light flickered. They started moving from the side and facing in my direction. They swung both of their swords at my front, shooting frost magic from the tips of their swords at me. Shit. They found me out. The frozen ice charged at me. I skated at the left side of the attack, dodging barely from it. As I looked in the direction where I stood, there were huge icicles mountains spreading on top of the frozen lake. I heard my heart kept thumping faster in fight or flight mode. My sweat dripped from my cheek and turned into ice drops. I gasped as I inhaled and exhaled a lot of cold oxygen. My body was trembling non-stop at this when the wind grew much colder from that attack. I heard the crackling sound of crisp ice freezing on top of lake's surface. It wasn't the battle in the court, it was different. I'm here facing 2 giant magical frozen knights. But I'm going to overcome them. I know a way. I'm thinking the same. Let's try it then. Since I'm small, then I'd work. I skated as fast as I ran on the court. I prepped my 2 gauntlets and transformed its nails like big black red blades. They came right at me. Stomp. With each step they came near me with more frost magic impact increased by the waves of ice coming thrust forward with creaked sound. It made the pond more icy. They shot 2 icicles at me this time. I extended both of my hands to cut through them. I jumped at them and rotated my body. The gauntlet's blade became wider as it touched the tip of the icicles. I sliced both of the icicles into 4 pieces. The blade is damn sharp. But I felt real pain in my arms. But there's still a lot to come. I fall down onto the ice surface. As if the icicles falled on the lake. Crack. There were pits cracked on the ice from the impact of fallen ice. I kept my breath inside of me in that minute. I inhaled the cold air again in my lungs, and gasped from exhaustion. I felt the raw pain on my tiny joints which slightly glistened with wounds. I heard the sounds of ice submerge into the lake. I glared at them. I still skated with max speed. Now they are both running at me. They raided their colossal sword at me with pouring frost magic. I skated with them. It's head-on battle right now. They swung both swords from left and right direction. As I jumped yet again, this channeled the black magic on the skates to skyrocket my body in the sky. I reached the pinnacle of the sky. I could see the horizon within my eyes. It was a full moon night. I inhaled a lot of oxygen as I felt the force of gravity pulling myself to fall on the ground. I felt air pulling myself in the mouth of a vacuum pump. I shoot myself like a bullet. It's going to hurt a lot. Now let's use black armor. I nodded. Black armor mode. They start to use frost magic ice beams to kill me in one hit. Last bit of black magic which was in me used to channel into black-red armor. My full body was covered in black-red colored armor. I felt the coldness of the beam on my body. It hurted a little thanks to this armor. Now is the time to absorb its power and use it against them. I gritted my teeth. I put forth both of my arms between the ice beams. I felt the chilly coldness sweep through my hands. Absorb everything they have. I don't want to give up. This is the final chance I got. And I won't waste it. Even if I have to break my limitations. Author's note. There won't be a second chapter. Out of personal reasons I'm busy. As life has more unpredictable circumstances befalls on you when. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 0 comments 0 votes send gifts. Difficulty 3. Author's note. Happy New Year. Hello guys, PoorPoet is here. I have not been published for 1 to 2 weeks because I was busy with Christmas and New Year Carnival. I'm still a college student, writing in my free time. I'm not a full-time writer yet, still as the rising sun is setting over the west, I make an oath to my readers that I'll be disciplined to write 1,500 words per day since Dark Magi got contracted. From the 1st of January 2025, I'll be writing daily along with my college work to become a full-time web novel author. I'm currently training myself to learn touch typing cause I wanted to write a PC with the app on my mobile which I'd write for emergencies and not miss my daily schedule. I wanted to be consistent, so even if I type one word or note, it's better than typing nothing. ZZEERRRKK. The sound of freezing ice beams kept ringing in my ears at a great intensity. My body is cutting through the frost magic, spreading the chilliness across my spine as I tremble a little. The snow was accumulating on the edges of the black-red armor, turning into ice which crept on the outward surface of it. My nose became sour by breathing the cold mist all over my face despite the inner warmth of the armor. I tasted the cold air increasing from the frost magic spell. I saw the 2 frozen nights increase the size of the ice beam into me. Absorb. I yelled with a high-pitched voice. From my hands, I shot the black-red aura at the ice beam which was spat at me. Like a gluttonous beast, the black magic crunched all of the frost magic ice beam into its belly. Ba dump. Ba dump. Ba dump. Ba dump. I heard my heart beat faster back in the moment I faced death in my previous life. Shine. I felt the black-red aura increase on my black-red armor, surging with most power. I felt warmness and pleasure sweeping across the skin as if endorphins were increasing in my vigorously pulsing veins on my head. Black-red energy kept swallowing the ice beam's power while feeding my mana. This is the power of black magic. No matter how strong the opponent's magic is, it would suck out its mana's strength and density to store as the black magic user's mana. It's one of its features which made black magic one of the rare magic in the world. Now it's my turn. Use the last low-level black magic spell you have right now. I gritted my teeth. I glared at them, with my eyes turned into crimson red. I inhaled a lot of cold air while failing on top of the 2 frozen nights. Since I'd absorbed a lot of frost magic from them, it's time to use them against them. Now or never. We shouted in a united voice. Black Inferno. The black-red flames kept surging from my armor. I felt the warmth and rising temperature of heat from within my body as I sweated more. I heard the flames keep burning around the edges with blazed sound. I smelled the scent of smoke rising from behind my armor. I licked the dry saliva with my tongue. From my both hands, black-red flames enraged to swallow from the whole ice beam to the giant frozen swords. I sucked out the whole mana from them. They were right about to charge the next attack onto me. But I landed the Black Inferno spell before me. Black Inferno is low-level magic which has the same power as Dark Avalanche, but has threefold strength compared to the latter. Like a flamethrower, the black-red flames shot at the two frozen knights. Aside from burning into ashes, these flames churn out and extract mana from them. Two giant frozen knights had covered in flames and slowly got eradicated on the wildfire I set forward. I was still falling off from the horizon with my black-red armor vanishing into thin air. I used all of my every mana I'd. By using just these low-level spells, I drained my amateur mana I'd absorbed from the pool of chosen path and two frozen knights. I'm now utterly powerless. It would take some time to recover from it. It would kill all of my power to kill these two gain knights still being burned alive. Splash. I fall down on the pit of the frozen lake, into the icy cold water. Tremble. 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 I was inside the water. I felt the sharp coldness and pain etched over all in my body. Blup. Blurp. 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 I heard the sound of bubbles echoing in the depth of the lake and water kept entering to my both ears. My nose turned red. In them, the water entered on it, making it harder for me to breathe. I drank a bit of freezing cold water which numbed my teeth sensitivity. I waved my tender arms to swim to the upper surface of the lake. I could see the light of the full moon over the top surface of the lake. Slurp. Slurp. I reached the top surface of the lake. Without any armor or protection I felt the icy coldness of the water. Achoo. I got a cold. Sniff. Sniff. I'm sure it's because of the overexposure to the cold atmosphere. I shivered a lot. SSSS's. I hissed a little. I grabbed the ice ledge, and I got on top of it. I was fully wet, from my body the drops of icy waters dripping to the ground. My head is fully draped with hair sticking to my skin. The clothes were fully soaked in the water and sticking wholly to my wet skin. I kept sneezing until I ran out of breathing. AACHOO. 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 I looked at the top of my head. I rubbed my nose. Glance. The two frozen knights came near me while still being trapped in Black Inferno spell. They were kept burning and slowly melting away through their way. Slam. 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 I could hear their sounds of stomping feet getting near me. I tremble non-stop with my spine too. I wrapped my right hand over my left shoulder, feeling the coldness of water and air surrounding the frozen lake. My nose was running rampant and trying to sniff my liquids together inside. My heart kept beating faster with ba-dump, ba-dump, ba-dump sound. I bit the tip of my tongue as I felt the pain from it. I started to run against them. I decided to face them. I don't have full mana or magic. I don't have any armor for protection. Even if I'm an ant to be crushed, I'll still see my mother once again. In my real world. For once and for all. 0 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. Difficulty 4. Author's note. I failed to write this chapter in the show. Don't tell me technique, particularly because of my lack of practice and skill, I couldn't write it. It's my first writing fight scenes and I know as readers you all would rant at my amateur rusty skills and I kept a lot of inconsistencies in the previous chapter. Something about it. This novel is peculiarly my first novel which I'm planning to write and complete in plus 2000 chapters in the future. Since I've limited time and resources to write full time, I'll keep writing one chapter per day for 4 years. I won't drop the novel, I'm determined to see its end and until I publish the last side story chapter. I ran with all of my might. I faced a lot of difficulties in my previous life. This is a beginning for me, facing dead head on like no other ordinary 7-year-old brat would do. As an ant compared to size in these two giant frozen knights coming on my way. I gasped, I coughed, I sneezed while I was running against them. I was feeling sick from having a high-level fever in my body. I persisted to run under this severe condition. My aim was to enter the frozen temple. I want to reach her. Sanjay looks at the waist of that second frozen knight. There is a key lying near him. It was the key for the entrance to the frozen temple. It's my job to get the key from him without being dead. The two giant frozen knights were still being burned from Black Inferno spell, some of their armor melting away into molecules of water on their way to kill me. They are still persistent to have me even if they are dying in their pursuit. How mechanical they are, just like perfectly controlled puppets who don't will on their own. If they want me on, there is still a little distance away, try to run the more you can. I put some extra force on my legs to sprint like a marathon athlete, but the limits of an ordinary 7-year-old boy. I could feel the coldness and pain seeping through my both feet. I heard my heart beating faster than ever from my lungs. I inhaled a lot of cold air which made my throat uncomfortable. I sneezed until my red nose became darker. There was a little warmth and sweat from my body as I put more exercise to it. My body hurts a lot since I pushed it to my limits. I'll be bedridden for a few days without being able to move. As two frozen knights were about to reach their twin swords to slash at right my head, I skidded down the right at the gap between the strike of two swords. I escaped the strike. I reached behind them and in front of the frozen temple. I locked my eyes at the weight of the second frozen knight's waist. I raised might to channel the tiny bit of black magic to catch the key from its waist. Long shot spell. Instantly my left arms turned to magical black-red long shot. I pulled the string of the long shot like a bow. I released the arrow from it. Boom. Black-red arrow shot forward to the key, in the waist of the second frost knight. There was a magical red thread gripped on the icy key on the waist. I pulled it as fast as I could. But the first frozen knight noticed it and swung the frost sword at me again. I don't know if this magical thread would cut off from his slash. The first frozen knight slashed through the magical thread. But it didn't cut it. The enraged frozen knight pulled the magical thread to his direction forcibly to drag me closer to them. But the magical thread didn't respond to him, and its main function was to bring the key to the frozen temple to me. I gripped the long shot on my hand, the black-red satanic dragon-faced gauntlet, with red eyes and balanced mouth from which the magical thread came shot. I pulled the magical thread from his clutches with twofold force. The key slipped right from his waist. The second frozen knight turned around alongside the first knight. As their key was about to reach me, both of them swung their frost swords against me. Both of the swords were spinning like a top, aimed at my head, were flying in the air. Both of the frost knights were already melting away with Black Inferno spell which I launched previously with all of the mana I'd store, their half-body into floods of water from it and falling into frozen lake pits from the crashes before. But as soon as this water met the frozen lake, it instantly turned to ice. Those two swords are coming right at me. When two of the swords were slightly about to touch my jaw, I ducked backwards. The two swords landed two opposite sides behind me. A chill went through my spine. I gasped, coughed and sneezed again. I'm really sick. I turned my head to forward. I catched the key in my hands. The two of the frozen came right at me. Slam, 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 slam. With their bodies were all ready to be fully turned into lifeless ice. Both of them rolled around their body to lake surface while turning water. Both of their bodies were turned into water except while both of their opposite hands were to touch my forehead. Froze, 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 froze. They transformed into big pile of ice. Glance. I looked these defeated frozen knights with a sigh. Sweats were coming from my forehead and body. I was tired fighting with this weak 7-year-old body without any mana. I sat on frozen lake surface to rest a bit. I heard my stomach grumbling non-stop. My red nose was trifling water from it. Sniff, sniff. I exhaled a lot of cold air from my lungs. Gasp, 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 gasp. I trembled over as I covered my upper half of my body with my arms. Shiver, 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 shiver. I looked at the pale full moon sky. Finally, I could see my mom and Sylvia again. Close corner bracket, I moaned. Now I look at the door of frozen temple. Stand. I stood up from lake surface. I lazily strided towards the door where at the center a snake's head was situated at the door in the center. Hiss. I rethinked again. It's just the beginning. P.S. From the next chapter onwards, I'll write 500 plus words more. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Have some idea about my story? Comment it and let me know. Like it. Add to library. Like it. Add to library. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 0 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. Download the app for greater interaction. You can chat with me about my writing experience apart from the comments section. PoorPoet. Download app now. New friend 1. Hiss. The voice of the frozen snake came from the door entrance of the frozen temple. I looked at the entrance of the temple with a sense of tiredness creeping over my scalp. Cough, 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 cough. I coughed a lot out of the coldness in the atmosphere. My body is trembling a lot, freezing in the white snow on the frozen lake. I walked in front of the door to the ice shrine. I felt the cold wind on my cheek, making my strands of black hair blow in the air. I heard the sounds of blue fireflies chirping on the edges of frozen leaves on the sides of leaves. My nose became sore, not letting me take in the smell of the surroundings. I touched the door of the frozen temple, feeling the cold hard surface across my palms. I brought the keys, which I got from those knights, into the lock. Clink. With a little noise, the lock was unlocked. I looked above the snake's head at the center of the door. It was looking at me with great animosity and hissing its tongue at me. It can't do anything then. I don't have the sufficient magic to kill this beast yet. For now it's better to leave this weird thing alone. The main priority is to find Mom, Sylvia, and return home safely. I pushed the door, with some effort on my little palms, to open this completely. Shriek. Bam. Bam. The door was opened wholly, revealing the icy blue interior of the temple. Everything here is made up solely of ice. I looked at them with a hint of curiosity about these drawings available on both sides of the ceilings. What are they getting at? I looked at them with extraordinary curiosity about their origins. Each one of the drawings carved in the ceiling had some meaning to me, but I didn't know how. I wanted to know more about them. I walked a little inside. The interior and architecture were a completely different world but still can be compared to traditional French Orthodox churches found in France. But it was also a fusion of ancient Indian temples in designs, and certain aspects highlighted it more often. Flip, 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 flip. I flipped through the books that were kept on the desk, scanning them page by page just to get the basic information from them about the lore of this world. Like novels and TV shows that keep telling a new world, this world plunged me with so many fine details I have neither seen before in my real world. These drawings were indicating a different story about the origins of this world. Someday I'll figure out about it, and at the end I'll return to my real world. I looked at the statues which were placed both sides from the entrance to the main hall. Even one of them carried different weapons in their hands. Slip, 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 slip. I placed my hands on each one of them, brushing off the rough frozen ice surface as I walked at main hall. I looked at main hall's big statue of 2 persons. 2 persons was a demon and angel with their hands wrapped around each other's. From the Satan's face there several horns and furious dragon-like teeth. It was as if wearing a dragon humanoid armor like I weared before. He had placed both of his sharp-clawed arms around the waist of angelic women. From the back of the angel there was several beautiful wings-like patterns emerged strikingly from her uniquely designed armor which I never seen before. From her face, they 2 strings of tears falling off from her atheistic face. My eyes and mouth widened by this statue. Hats off to the legendary sculptor who made this statue, his skills are otherworldly indeed. I scratched my cheek with my index finger. I swiped the dust away on the statue's lower part where something was blurry written on it with my both arms. I felt the coldness spreading on it. I heard some ice cracks cracking on its ice surface. I wiped my nose before I sneeze. I inhaled the snowy air in the ice temple through my mouth and I exhaled with a sigh. What this passage means actually. I can't read this foreign language. This is really written another language which I never knew from Daris's memory. What the hell this means? I sighed. Who cares what it means, the priority is to reach Mom and Sylvia. Then I accidentally touch in another part of statue. Then suddenly. Bang. Zack. Zack. Statue started to move left side of main hall. The whole big statue just moved to the right mechanically. Then I saw a hidden pathway to the ground inside the floor. Foosh. 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 The blue torches lit up from the both sides of the hidden pathway. I heard the sounds of rumbling ground from the floor. I felt the shaking ground from back and forth direction. I sniffed my nose 2 to 3 times to lose some of my liquids to the floor. I still coughed, trembled and sneezed as I placed my foot onto the ladder placed down towards earth. Crack. Crack. Creak. Creak. As I walked by the ladder descending down to a tunnel-like pathway, I heard the repeated sound of ice cracking with I'm walking. Cough, 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 cough. I constantly coughed and sneezed until I lost my breath. I need rest, not till I meet both of them. I walked some distance further where this tunnel leads me to. Then I reached a center of the tunnel where multiple ice tunnel inside in it. This is where I get struck the most. Which path will lead me to Mom and Sylvia? I took the turn to choose the middle tunnel to reach them. I walked more and more inside, but there this way would end anyways. I was more sickly and turned on by my fever. I can't bear the coldness anymore. I need a warm rest. My eyes dozing off from excessive pushing my body to the limit. My legs walking pace drastically become slow and slow as the time went. My stomach is grumbling with hunger like my belly was fully empty. Grumble. Crack, 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 crack. I lost all of my energy, mana and other things I'd used until now. I kept walking and walking on. Until I reached a room. My vision was now completely blurry to the point I could get unconscious at any time. Crack, crack. I fell into the icy floor. Bump. I felt the sharp coldness of the ground on my entire body. I heard my heartbeat getting lower and lower, from my nose blood dripping out like a tiny river, and I could feel the pain from it. My vision got narrower. From my mouth saliva gushed out from and slowly turned into ice. I raised my hand to stand up again but I touched something else. It seemed to be an egg. Right middle of a room. I felt some warmth flowing from it. I'm going to have an eternal rest from now on. I wanted to see both of my moms and Sylvia again. I wanted to see my real world again. But now. Shine. Oh no, my son. I heard familiar voice. My mom. I fell into eternal unconsciousness. Author's note. Sorry I can't write up to 1500 words cause my other works I've to do offline. I try to ever to reach up to the word count I've set but not now. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators thoughts. 0 comments 0 votes send gifts. New friend 2. Wake up. I heard the monstrous voice from a near distance. It was so near to me, which made me open from an eternal slumber. I slowly opened my pupils, first came a blurry vision, then slowly the scenery turned into a red sky. I looked at the dark clouds in a daze. I was so lost in thought that I couldn't recount how many dark clouds passed by my eyelids. I raised my hand which exudes pale white skin color from it. I closed my fingers into a ball fist, feeling roughness on the center surface of my palm. From the fists, a dark red wisp ignited which brought the warmth of the heat towards my body. I lowered it, with the heat of this wisp spreading to my heart. Feeling my heart as it goes up and down beneath the white flesh. We're now fine. You only depleted huge amounts of mana while fighting those frozen knights and using low spells in the court. I heard him speaking again, with more loudness making my ears ache a bit by bit. I got up, by pushing my both hands to the rocky surface, its sharpness made a slight mark on the edges of my fingertips. I looked at the sides of this new realm I'm situated right now. The realm was covered with a red sky, there were no echoes of sounds from creatures nor from the surroundings, it was absolute silence rang everywhere. I was standing some distance besides a huge red crack in the surrounding area. This place can be called volcanic eruptive area due to the place where dark brown volcanoes could be seen from here, the big cracked area. I'm standing on a volcanic cliff, I'm sure of it. I felt humid air blowing across my face, as the trickling beads of sweat falling of my body. It's uncomfortable for me to stand here due to how hot it is for me to stand here while wearing these clothes on top of my body. I swiped the sweats from my neck, waving my hand like a fan to give off some small breeze towards my clothes. I unhooked some buttons to let the air fluctuate in my body. I walked up the big crack on the volcanic cliff. I reached the end of the cliff. I bowed down, crouching on my knees, looking down at the black-red lava boiling down the big crack. The temperature is already up at a high level which I could barely cope with. Blop, hiss, blop, hiss, blop, hiss. The shimmering lava kept rising and lowered its wave across the dark crystalline surface. I heard the boiling sounds of lava erupting like wildfire across my ears. I smelled the rusty scent of charcoal withering to my 2 tiny holes. I felt the sweat dripping from both sides of my neck and chest area, which made the upper half of my body wet and uncomfortable. I looked at the big crack with wide eyes and mouth, astonished at the great detail of this new realm. This realm was alive without any living beings habitating inside it. Where are you? I yelled with the most pitch. I gripped my hands tight while feeling the pain of its tightness. I looked at the moon in the sky with calmness spread on both of my eyes. I'm here, you fool. I heard his monstrous tone reverberating my ears. I looked below the black-red lava in the big crack which had been stirring and churned violently. Suddenly, a black-red satanic dragon came out of the black-red lava. A lot of lava sticking was dripping from his huge black-red body like drops of rain water. Rumble, 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 rumble. The whole realm shook and trembled with utmost ferocity. The realm which was silent a few moments ago, now was shaken violently. There small cracks emerged, the rocky surface started to dismantle into the cracks where black-red lava began to flow from inside out and some of the rock and boulders fell off the volcanic surface. The rest of the volcano erupted, sending its hot black-red lava to edges of the volcano from the erupted hole. When I opened my closed eyes, I saw a familiar figure looking at me with hissing black-red flames from his nostrils. There were sounds of lava falling into the big crack with a chiss sound which I heard from my ears. The scent of grilled charcoal spread more quickly to my nose. I felt the humid temperature rising as he exhaled black-red flames onto me. I tasted my dry saliva and it made me want to drink some cold water. Have I fallen? I whispered to him who was standing right in front of me closely. I looked at him while sighing at the result. No, you're not dead yet, you are only highly sick out of pushing your current body beyond the limits of an ordinary child. That's all. You're still weak. You still haven't reached the prime stage yet. You've faced enough right now. I nodded my head. I stretched my arms and legs to the sides to and fro, which made some cracking sounds. You're right. I did a lot of extraordinary things with an ordinary body. I reached my limits and lost a lot of mana and stamina for a 7-year-old brat's body. I know if I exited this realm, I'd be really bedridden for a few days. But there's no choice for me other than taking a short break. What's your name actually? Other than Satanic Dragon and my magic? I asked him. I'll surely be about to exit this realm in a few moments and to meet Mom and Sylvia again. I'm so late to ask his name right now, I guess I should have asked him before, but a lot of things happened to me which I missed to ask him. Now that my mom found me, then I don't have much issue for myself and I will probably solve many mysteries behind my mom, the history of this world, and when I solve the last mysteries of this world then I'd return to my real world and I'd see my original mother and live a happy life. I don't want to stay in this world any longer. This wasn't my world to begin with. I'm here because my soul is sealed in this body by this satanic dragon. And I have to reach the pinnacle of this continent to return back to Earth. He hissed the black-red flames to the top and said. Singar, the satanic dragon. Author's note. Sorry for the slow update. From this chapter onwards, I revert to telling the story, since I'm learning to type out on my PC. I have been writing on mobile, and it is problematic for my spine, so I'm switching to writing on PC. And I kept so many inconsistencies in my writing and I wanted to correct the novel. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators thoughts. 0 comments 0 votes send gifts. New friend 3. Singar. I thought of this exotic name in my head. He's the satanic dragon who is part of my soul. I muttered the name with my dry lip, feeling its dry skin. I licked my lips with my tongue to make it wet again. The satanic dragon breathed the black-red flames from his nostrils. The heated flames spread across my clothes without damaging a bit of it. All these were fake settings in an imaginary realm. But these settings were too realistic for anyone who inhabited in it. The hot air that carried the black-red flames oozing out from the big crack made my hole to lose a load of sweat dripped across my whole body. Compared to the coldness I have experienced in Frozen Temple, it was still half bearable for me to stay in it. The satanic dragon's body was covered in black armor with red runic-like patterns engraved all around the body. He had very long spiky curved red horns from his head which reached to his spine. His red eyes shone a red-colored glow on him and light emitted from it as if a red aura spun out from it. Black-red lava was dripping from his entire body like sweat beads dripping from my body. His lower back body was inside the black-red lava pool, which churning and boiling inside its flames. I couldn't see his black-red tail from his back. His tyrannosaurus-like jaw showed clear white teeth with strings of saliva coming from its edges. His wings had beautifully drawn patterns inscribed on the back. This is him. He's a satanic dragon, also my magic. He's the gift for me from the absolute being to complete a certain quest for him. I wanted to know about him more. I raised my hands to touch his nose where I could pat him. He has certainly helped me in the court and battle between those two frozen knights. Now, I used up all the magic and was forced to remain frozen till death. He assisted me in using those two low-level spells in the battle. Singar, right. I patted his gigantic nose by the edge of the big volcanic crack. Thanks for your help in the court and front of those two knights. I don't know how to pay your debts for it, and I discovered my doppelganger mother and Sylvia before I got unconscious. I know you want something from my side for yourself. I rubbed his crude flesh with the under of my fingertips. It's a rough and thick layer of made my spine shiver a bit. I sniffed the strange scent from his skin, which was like burning charcoal or wood. I tasted the dry saliva and gulped it down to my throat. Not only that, but I heard the rumbling sounds from his surroundings as if there was an ongoing earthquake or falling off stones from other parts of the volcanoes. I saw him taking his head off from my hands and looking at the sky. He didn't respond to me. He kept looking at the sky and oozing out the black-red flames like breathing in and out. It's true, I'm not doing this out of any goodwill or for free. But right now, you're not able to carry out the requirements for things I want you to do. Note this for sure, I wanted to get out of your magic state and get back to my real body and attain freedom. Since you're not able to break free the seal I placed you from your death, then I'd wait for you to reach the pinnacle of this continent and then let's discuss the debt you wanted to pay back to me. We looked at each other for some seconds. I nodded and gave him a thumbs up. Okay. Singar, I'll reach the pinnacle of this continent. I'd break the seal that you'd put inside me, and I'll help you get back to your real body. Singar looked at me for a few seconds before saying, I know you're curious about my background and powers, but remember this, I'm one of the guardians in this land and belongs to one of the greatest clans in this world. You're still weak and puny compared to the real titans in the continent, you'll know in the future what I'm talking about, so be prepared. Rumble. 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 The whole volcano and the big crack suddenly trembled and shook, the boulders and rocks began to collapse and fall off from around. Dust was falling off from them, which made me sneeze. The black-red lava was craving a path like a flowing river stream. Smokes were emerging from the asides while covering the night sky. When all of them occurred, the ground was giving seismic waves to the ground. The big crack widened with the sudden quake and the edge of the volcano erupted as I fell downwards, facing ahead the pool of lava. Ah! I yelled at the top of my lungs and looked at him. Singar. Is this imaginary realm crumbling out because I've started to regain my consciousness? Singar nodded his head and whispered, we're talking to each other inside our soul state, which inhibited in your unconsciousness. It takes when you're out of a conscious state and reaches the imaginary realm we were previously in. You're reaching your conscious state, so you're existing in this realm temporarily. I heard his monstrous tone echoing across my face. I could feel the air cutting through my body. My hair and dress kept blowing into a mess by its strands and sleeves flowing with air. The dust got to my nose, which made me to sneeze again. I heard the sounds of rocks and boulders crashing down at the bottom and the boiling lava shimmering and churning below me. I inhaled the taste of dry saliva and chilly air on my mouth. Not only that, but I placed my both arms on my hips and started to descend from the air. This will be not the last time I've visited this place. Multiple times when I cross the realm of consciousness in the future. But for now, this will be the last time I'll exit it. All I knew was I was not dead. I reached towards Mom and Sylvia. I don't know what lies above me. I remember the egg I touched last before getting knocked out. And the secrets behind this world. All lay in front of me to figure out. To be continued. Author's note. I find the time and hang off the laptop to write chapters again. The chapters will only be free until the 50th chapter and the rest of the chapters will be locked. In this chapter, there are no particular notes. I plan to write and thanks for reading my novel. 0 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. New friend 4. Wake up. Wake up. My son. I heard the cries of a woman with a familiar voice echoing across my ears. The droplets of a warm liquid kept falling onto my cheeks, bringing me away from the unconsciousness by feeling its warmth from the sides of my cheeks. I somehow smelled the familiar scent of a blue hibiscus, despite the pain aching inside my nose. I coughed out the dry saliva which I tasted right now. When I opened my eyes, I saw the 2 familiar people who were crying beside me. One was a 7-year-old girl and next was the woman who was in her mid-20s was hugging me with care. When they both saw my open eyes, both of them gave out a sigh of relief. They both started to smile while wiping out the tears around their eyes. My mom increased the grip around my body with her arms, making my face got red instantly. I felt the softness of her breasts which my right cheeks were brushing off, but more than that I felt the coldness shivering down my spine. Just like the previous world, she always liked to hug me often before she got ill. These hugs constantly soothed my soul even on the toughest days. Mom, Sylvia. I called out. I raised my hand to my nose, the blood was gushing out of it. The pain beneath it was something an ordinary 7-year-old like me could withstand, right? My whole body was now aching with pain, not to mention that I'm currently sick right now. But I only passed out a few minutes ago. Singar, the satanic dragon, was inside me, protecting my life when I passed out. Now I don't have the full mana in me to channel my magic into the body. I can only wait till I replenish mana, till then I'd take rest entirely. My son, I leaned forward with my body, I broke away from my mother's embrace. I put both of my hands onto my knees to stand up. Cough, 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 cough. I coughed a lot with the pain emerging from over my body. It hurts. I groaned, biting my lips. I covered my body with both of arms, feeling both the coldness and the pain simultaneously. The whole body quivered as I stood upon my feet. I dropped my shoulders to touch my knees, I looked at them with a smile. Aren't the both of you feeling cold, right? I inquired while looking at both of their attires. Where did the both of you get clothes from? I have never seen it before. Son, are you really okay? From the looks of your clothes, it seems like you'd battled those 2 both frozen nights quite well. You mean these clothes, right? We got these inside this temple. She replied to me in a gentle tone by putting both her arms on my shoulders. How did she know these clothes existed in this temple? With a hint of doubt I asked her. Mom, tell me the truth. How did you know this place even exists? If you don't know, then how you're able to bring Sylvia into this area exactly without any danger? How did the both of you get past by that freaking giant 2 frozen nights safely? And how did you know that this clothes exists in this place? As if you've been to this place before. I have the same questions to ask you, Auntie. How did you know? Sylvia also asked you. My mom, Melinda, looked away from mine and turned away from both Sylvia and me. She clenched her hands in a tight manner. With a slight tremble, she looked at me with a tear on her face. She placed both of hands on her face and wiped off her tears. With a shudder, she asked me. This place is closely related to you. I dumbfounded. Closely related to me? But how? She turned to my side and walked over to the egg's side. She fondled it with utmost care and replied. This place is where I met your missing dad for the first time. She replied with some tears on her face. My dad. I was enlightened. The 2 of you spent your time here together before he got missing in the war. Yes. She stammered. She was sweating on her forehead. Sometimes she didn't directly look at me. She kept brushing off her hands on her hair as if she wanted to hide something from me. When I was plucking the fruits and ice from this jungle, I found a soldier lying on the grounds of the frozen temple and was putting shards of ice on a beautiful yet dangerous frozen temple. That's how I learned about this place from your father. I was silent for a moment. I could only believe her faintly. I could only keep this secret for a few years from your birth. You were a fatherless child and you haven't known the love of your father since childhood, but that's it. This was the beginning of my journey from young woman to a mother's role. I still don't know where your father went missing, but I know one thing. Your father loves you a lot, my child. I still remained silent. My original father died before my mother got ill. In this world, my mother is safe and sound while my father was missing from a war that happened 7 years ago. I knew about my father's care in my previous life. In this current life, I haven't even seen a photo of my father in this world. I can still imagine the figure of my real-world father's appearance overlapping this missing dad. This era is where magic is on par with technology, even if it's an old era where technological advancement is a little. Okay. Mom, let's leave this place right now and we've some urgent settlement and Sylvia needs to go home right now. I pulled both of their hands, feeling the warmth of their temperature and started to walk away from this temple's room. Then Mother abruptly stomped the room with her legs. You're severely aching with pain right now, you should try to investigate this place and try to hatch this egg you'd found on this main hall. Maybe you'll find something interesting. My mom said in a mysterious tone and waved her fingers as an instruction. This big egg. I looked at this oddly designed egg near the center with a hint of doubt. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. I tagged this book, come and support me with a thumbs up. Like it. Add to library. Have some idea about my story. Comment it and let me know. PoorPoet creators' thoughts. 0 comments, 0 votes, send gifts. To be continued. Rate this book.